A big mouth and fake feminism can destroy one's career. Ms. Zegler is a perfect case study for both. Rachel Zegler is known now for her intense comments on Snow White 2024 and Snow White 1937 when doing promotional work for Disney. One major development has to do with the truth as to why Rachel Zegler was fired from a Snow White project, specifically the Snow White sequel to the 2024 film. Since the Snow White leaked photos, the backlash has impacted Disney greatly. Rachel Zegler's transition from a celebrated Hollywood figure to becoming embroiled in controversy underscores the delicate balance between personal expression and promotional responsibilities, especially when dealing with iconic classics that hold significant cultural and emotional value. With the Snow White live-action remake set to hit Disney to extreme levels from the general public, the Snow White trailer is still looming, with Disney now delaying that trailer until the holiday season. Doesn't Rachel Zegler understand that you need to increase the value of your brand if you expect someone to pay more for it? Does anyone believe that Rachel Zegler has increased the value of her brand in recent months? Personally, I think it's gone the opposite way. She may not care now, but when she can't get work after the strike, she'll care very much. This is why I say in this day and age, in very rare instances, a person isn't an adult until they're at least 30. These kids just think the world owes them a living. It doesn't. Maybe if they'd done a sequel with all grown-up Snow White and the prince facing an existential threat which they defeat by working together and combining their strengths, whilst offsetting each other's weaknesses, they'd have had a movie people might have wanted to see. Maybe calling on the 7 dwarves in their hour of need. It also doesn't stop Snow White from being a leader, after all. She's married to the prince of the realm. They are both in leadership positions. Instead, they wanted an insufferable girl boss, a simp, and 7 unemployed baristas, one of whom happens to be a dwarf, who's not called Peter Dinklage from the Game of Thrones. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Rachel thinks she's a list, and absolutely untouchable, and she's about to learn a really hard lesson. Know your worth and play your cards carefully. Rachel thinks she's worth far more than she is and throws down whatever she wants because she thinks she's irreplaceable. So much so, she can ignore a direct order from her bosses because she thinks she's the one bringing in the bacon. This is why I talk about how women are delusional and believe their SMV is much higher than it actually is. I'll be honest, I didn't know who she was before any of this. In fact, even after I did get to know who she was because of Snow White, I didn't even pronounce her last name correctly. Granted, that's not saying anything against her so much as it does me not being able to be bothered to learn her name, but still. I literally do not care about her, and I can't imagine what it's like for other people. I almost feel the blame should be on the higher-ups, even the director. Why was Rachel Zegler calling all the shots? Since when do actors decide the entire plot or make big decisions? From what I remember, they usually get paid to act, no? So, what on earth is the director doing bowing down to all that is demanded by Zegler? Disney wanted to make sequels even before Rachel Zegler showed her true colors. Disney didn't wait to see how the box office for the first movie would make first. Their arrogance and stupidity know no bounds. Did they not learn from the mistakes of all the previous failures? Let the company die, please. Put the mouse out of his misery. Not hiring her isn't the same as firing, and if she was hired, then there would be a contract that would cover what situations Disney would be allowed to fire her. Since the project hasn't even been started yet, there's no way Disney signed a contract and hired her to star. They may have been merely talking about a sequel, and they may have spoken to her about starring in the said sequel, but that's as far as they would have gone. So she wasn't fired, she just wasn't hired. All the while, she thought she was the boss woman in this whole scenario. Typical modern women's thinking. If Disney simply were to announce that starting Monday, they were going to return to their core values, which Walt Disney created, and that they would focus on fun family entertainment with good values and start listening to their audience rather than Twitter activists. Star Wars and animation would all return to their core values, which made them successful in the first place. But that's never going to happen with these new age woke women boss ladies ruining things from the beginning. Hopefully, this will help other up-and-coming actors understand that disrespecting the audience will not get you far. Zegler will be used as an example of a little girl who didn't bother to read The Country and thought her bubble was bulletproof. She isn't representing women, she's representing whiny, unintelligent, and entitled attitudes that are on their way to getting their attitudes adjusted. Soon, every woke actor with a big mouth will be sorry they ever participated in this disdain for the majority of viewers. This is just what these actors need. The fact is that Disney has run their remakes and franchises into the ground. Forced nostalgia is literally choking the life out of the Disney brand even faster than their forced diversity. Disney is incapable of creating quality, wholesome, original material like they used to, and instead, are scraping rotten meat off old corpses and trying to sell it as fresh. Now, they're wondering why nobody is buying stale, rancid ideas. A lot of people believe they should completely scrap the Snow White remake and the Pirates reboots and all future remakes and reboots for the next 10 years. Disney needs new content or else the company will go out of business, especially with other studios stepping up their game and making new content. Nobody wants to watch remakes of the same movies over and over. They've weakened their brand to the point they can't keep scraping their old content for ideas anymore. Otherwise, they'll get left behind like a lame horse in a race. Some Disney franchises are 50, or in the case of Snow White, almost 100 years old. Companies can't expect any art form to stay nostalgic or relevant for that long. If they need a modern new princess, they need to write modern new stories with different names, characters, and ideas. If they keep remaking things, Disney is doomed. Every time they come out with a new live-action remake, everyone collectively groans because they're so awful, and even most children don't like them as much as the animated versions. By remaking old classics that were written in a time with different social constructs in today's world, they're only going to make them into something people aren't going to like, and they'll ruin the sanctity of these classics such as Snow White. Zegler, aged 22, openly expressed her dissatisfaction with Disney's 1937 classic and its portrayal of the prince, labeling it as a stalker and remarking that its narrative won't be replicated in the new adaptation. These interviews triggered a considerable backlash on social media. Zegler also stated that the upcoming film would take a new direction, emphasizing that the character of Snow White would not rely on the prince for rescue and would not be centered around the concept of true love. This stance led to criticism from different factions, with accusations of promoting woke culture, as well as claims of being a fake feminist. Furthermore, Zegler faced backlash for her portrayal of Snow White as a Latina, prompting both her and Disney to address the criticism and defend their casting decision. In addition, Zegler's candid remarks about her involvement in Shazam, Fury of the Gods, where she stated that she took the role due to needing a job, contributed to the ongoing controversy. While Zegler anticipates the release of her upcoming films, including The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and Snow White, concerns have arisen regarding the potential negative impact of her disparaging comments about the original film on the box office performance. Thanks for watching The Circle of Kings. As always, we're looking forward to your support, so please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything all kings like yourself need to know.